Don't you think there's something fundamentally wrong with our political system? Isn't it clear that something's off, that it's just not working? Well, perhaps there is a different way that we can do politics in South Africa. In 2018, I started a movement called the Organic Humanity Movement, also registered as a political party. And its prime purpose is to change how politics is done in South Africa. We've put forward quite a lengthy proposal that will, in my opinion, make South Africa probably the truest democracy that exists in the whole world. And that is a bold statement, but it's something that is very important that we achieve if we want to move forward. So if we want things to improve, if we want electricity to work, if we want clean water to come out of our taps, if we want to send our kids to good public schools, we cannot continue on the trajectory we are going. It is simply not good enough to just elect a new political party into public office, into power, and hope that they somehow have our best interests at heart. That is actually lazy and wishful thinking. It's not going to happen. We can't just replace one party with another and call it a solution. So what we need to look at is fundamental system change, really changing how the system was designed so that we can have a system designed to serve the people instead of what we have now. So what are some of the changes that we are proposing? Well, one of the biggest changes is removing political parties completely. Can you imagine a South Africa without political parties? I certainly can. And what does that mean? Does it mean we become a one-party state? Absolutely not. That is absolutely not what it's about. Although a lot of people will jump to that conclusion. That is not what it's about. No political parties means independence will run for public office only. It means that government, as well as including the IEC, will not at all recognize political parties. It means you won't see any party posters or get any party flyers. It means that anything to do with elections will involve independent candidates only. And of course, I mean, in our South African constitution, we have the freedom of association, and I believe in freedom. Freedom is very important. So organizations will always exist, but organizations will have nothing to do with the election process ever. And I think this will be a remarkable step forward for our country. And what will this involve in all spheres of government? Well, firstly, we're saying bye-bye. We're proposing saying goodbye to provincial government because we see it as a complete waste of taxpayers' money. We have national government and local government. And at local government, it's kind of working this way in that as an independent, you can run for public office in your ward, but alongside political parties. And you cannot have a hybrid system. A hybrid system will not work. There was legislation passed at national level to allow independence at national level alongside political parties, and it can never work. So what we want to do at all levels of government is make sure you get to vote for individuals, for people, for human beings that aren't bound by a political party's ideology and agenda. And instead vote for a human that understands what needs to happen to improve the community, the physical, tangible things that need to happen to improve a community, instead of putting ideology on seats in parliament and in councils. So one of the important changes is that you will vote for your councillor. You will vote also for your mayor, which you don't do currently. The mayor is voted for by council. You will vote for your member of parliament, and you will vote for the president of the country as an individual. And this is, I mean, the last one is so important because right now, the president of the country is also the president of a party. Is that not the biggest conflict of interest ever in our political landscape? How can you run a party, be loyal to that party, act in the best interest of that party, and then also do the same for the country? How is this allowed? It's probably one of the biggest, most obvious flaws that we have. And no one ever speaks about it. I don't understand why. But anyway, you'll vote for an individual instead of voting for a party, and you will vote for the president instead of parliament deciding on who the president is. So this will be a revolutionary change here in this country if we can get this right. At national level, when it comes to National Assembly, your representatives in parliament, in other words, what is that going to look like? So right now it's a proportional representative system where X amount of votes gets a party X amount of seats. So you really have an ideologically filled parliament. And I think the time for ideological politics is up. You can't eat ideology. It's time we move past that. We need to move past ideology and start working towards a tangible vision where we fix things in this country and progress. So in Parliament, how will that look? There are 400 seats in Parliament. So for argument's sake, let's keep those 400 seats. We take the entire country divided by 400. So every region in the country, 400 regions in the country, will send a representative to Parliament to represent their greater community. So we've looked at the maps and we've looked at the numbers, and currently a member of Parliament will represent about 150,000 people and about the size of a sub-council. Now, a sub-council is a local government structure that's made up of a number of wards. So if you think of yourself, your ward, and about five neighboring wards, that's about the size of the area your member of Parliament will come from and will be sent to Parliament. Logistically, don't worry, there's already accommodation for parliamentarians that exist in Cape Town, so that's sorted. Logistics are already sorted. It was almost like it was set up for this, but it's not. So what you have is someone literally representing you and your greater community in Parliament when discussing things at a national level. And this is so important, long overdue. I think we should say goodbye to ideological politics and bring in a system where we can elect independents. And what is this actually going to look like? I think a lot of people automatically think the worst. They automatically think, oh, but independents can be bought. But hello, parties are funded. And they almost have a silent obligation to pursue the agenda of their funders, or the funding will go away or go to someone else. It's just the nature of how things are done. So if you look at the seat distribution in Parliament currently, a funder, a billionaire, a villain just has to fund 3 or 4 parties to control the whole country. But now with an independent system where there are only independents, there are 400 seats in Parliament and 400 people that need to be controlled. And keep in mind that the president's also elected separately as well. And I think because now we've removed this big obstacle standing in our way, that is political parties. If you want to exercise your constitutional right to stand for public office, what do you do today? Today you have to join a political party, suck up to the leadership, compromise your own moral values, pursue an agenda that's not even your own, in the hope of you being rewarded with a position of a seat or something. And in the new system, there's none of that. You approach the IC, you have to obviously meet certain basic criteria that parties do now, such as signature requirements, and also pay a contesting fee. But it's easy. It's easy for you, without getting involved in the ugly, dark side of politics, to just enter the political landscape and run for public office. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have a better and a bigger pool of normal, ordinary citizens who actually want things to improve, running alongside the very same career politicians everyone's so scared of. So the playing field is going to change completely. And it can only be a step in the right direction. It can only lead to improvement, because what we have now is not working. We cannot continue doing what we are doing now and expect things to magically change. It's not going to happen. So what do you think? Can you imagine a South Africa without political parties? Can you imagine a South Africa where you vote for your president directly, where you actually have a member of parliament that represents your greater community, that you actually have access to? Because their job, when there's no sittings, when parliament is off duty, that MP's job is going to be to come to their constituency and actually engage with the community. So would you like that? Do you think this is a step in the right direction? Can you imagine perhaps voting for your mayor? Can you imagine running for public office yourself? Do you think that our South African citizens are or will be active enough in the system to make it work? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and I'll do my best to answer all of them.